The eCom Seller Summit was created to prove that with the right tools and training, anyone and everyone can make money in e-commerce. So many people want to try their hand at e-commerce, selling on eBay, Amazon, Shopify, and more, but they're afraid they won't be successful. This summit will show you that there's many ways to do e-commerce, and there are many platforms you can explore, because e-commerce really has no limits. It really can pay your bills, and e-commerce never sleeps. There's nothing like waking up to profits from getting sales all night long. My name is Nicole Whitlock, and this is the eCom Seller Summit. So this is Nicole Whitlock with the eCom Seller Summit, and today we have with us the beautiful, the amazing Miss Joy Packard. Joy has a very large family, and she is a very busy woman. And typically, every time I see anything about Joy, she's somewhere living her best life. I'm telling you, if if I only had the opportunity, I mean, I probably could, but there's some complications with trying to travel with my son. But yes, she's living her best life. She spends a significant amount of time traveling and living a really good life. So, and she's so blessed with a huge family. So Joy, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. I'm always so happy to be here with you. You always, have an amazing group of people that I so dearly love. So,
We have a great group of speakers. So today's topic is about sort of, it's planning your life, but also just thinking about your business. So right now we're in the middle of COVID-19. So this recording is while we're in the middle of COVID-19. In the state that Joy and I live in, we're definitely on lockdown orders. So I know many states are, and many cities, many counties. And so this is a great opportunity to make some transition in your business. But on this particular topic, we're going to be talking about, how you can free up your time in your business. Now, we'll talk about it in general, and then we'll talk about it, how you can apply it to what's happening right now in COVID-19. So in general, Joy is known for helping people to outsource their business or to streamline their business. And if you are a person that is active in your business, this is your opportunity, if you were looking to do it, to either outsource your business to scale. Now, outsourcing will help you scale because it frees up your time. I'm sorry, I'm doing your whole presentation. So
go ahead. You're doing a great job.
Because it frees up your time. If you think about what you're doing every single day, you exponentially, the amount of hours you spend doing whatever you're doing, I call it the low-hanging fruit. If you hire somebody else to do the low-hanging fruit, then you can focus on the higher return activities and allow the low-hanging fruit to be outsourced to someone else. So with that being said, since I took up most of it,
No, you're doing great.
About conceptually, some reasons why you should consider streamlining your business operations by outsourcing, and then the different methods. Then we'll circle back around to how COVID-19 could be affecting your business right now. So take it away, Joy. I'll stop talking.
You're doing great. I talk a lot about outsourcing, but I also talk about planning, just basic what the topic is. And I think it's just so near and dear to my heart because, as you guys know, I have many, several kids, and I've had to learn this skill over the years of raising them. It's been, something where I've always wanted to find something that I can do to work from home. And, I looked online, I basically searched online of ways that I can make money online. And, I found some things, and it didn't start off with Amazon. It started off with affiliate marketing and creating my own, websites and membership sites and things like that. And as I look back at my journey, and I look back on my life, and I'm like, the thing that has helped me probably more than anything is being able to set time away, for like even just now, like I was talking to my daughter who helps me with my business, and she has 2 babies, and I watched those babies while they went on a cruise about a couple months ago. And I remember when I was watching them, I told my husband, I'm like, I don't know how I got anything done. Because she was telling me how, I need to tell my husband, during this COVID, lockdown, then I need to have some undivided time because, the babies take up so much time. And so if you don't have babies, you'll have other things that take up your time. You might have, like Nicole has, some sons that take up a lot of her time. And, we have something every day, whether it's we have to cook dinner or whatever. So I do have a presentation. Some of the slides are older. Is there, let me see, is there a way that I can put it on here, or how do I do that?
You can share if you want to, but again, okay. we can do a mix of both.
Okay, yeah.
You always have great information about, why people should consider outsourcing or streamlining their business operations, what type of things they should consider outsourcing and what things they should, maybe keep doing themselves, or how they could structure their day to do those things. And then we can circle back around to,
okay,
what do I do with COVID-19?
Most people who are watching this summit are in e-commerce. And right now, it's a little bit scary for some because, we've relied so much on Amazon, and, we have a lot of, people who, and, I've had an event called Simples on Seller, and, Nicole was a speaker at the last event. And I look back at that and I think, that whole event is about not putting all your eggs in one basket. And here is a great example of today's day and age, and the fact that you can't just put it all in one thing. And I know some people are like, well, I know also the importance of focusing and everything like that. I'm not talking about taking away focus, but I'm talking about, having our focus on things and being able to have outsourcers, like we talk about virtual assistants. Nicole took some of this virtual assistant information before and she ran with it. And I talked to her at an event here in San Antonio with Amy Wees, and she, you've done wonderful things with your virtual assistants. And so, I think most importantly is like what I'm doing right now during this time is I'm taking my notebook, composition notebook, or whatever, journal that you have, and really looking at your business. Especially if you're kind of like, some people are telling me, I know that, with Amazon FBA right now, we can send in the essential service, items that people need during this time that Amazon is accepting. But some people are like, but I'm scared to send in something because I don't want to, I think I read yesterday that Amazon suspended almost 4,000 sellers so far, and they're not very forgiving. They don't like say, oh, she didn't mean to do that. No, if you're doing it, maybe you'll get your account back down the road, but a lot of sellers are scared. Even though they can send in items, they're scared to. So this is a great time, and I'm doing this myself, and that's why I'm, talking about it, and the fact that I'm writing down all of the different ways that multiple income streams that I can do during this time. And thank goodness that, I've implemented this particular strategy over the years, not just because, we're quarantined and homebound and locked down and all these things during this time with the virus, but well, for one thing, I do love to learn new skills, but I'm thankful, that I did that for myself. And I know a lot of people on here are wondering, what can I do? And so this is a good time to write down, some of the things. Maybe they're in your old folders, maybe it's a skill such as KDP. And, I heard yesterday in one of the groups that Merch Amazon, that Amazon is also, I don't know if you heard this too, Nicole, but I was reading it. They're also, kind of on a standstill of the shirts because it's not as important as, the essentials that people need during this time. So if you had put all your eggs in one basket, only doing merch, which merch is a great way to make money, now you're the same thing. You're at a standstill. So it's super important to, to write down, like I am, heavily getting into my Shopify sites, my Gear Bubble, which is similar to Shopify. And I told my virtual assistants, we had a meeting with them, in fact, a few days ago, and I'm like, we're shifting, we're putting this on hold for now until, Amazon can say, hey, you can start sending your things again. Now, a lot of my Amazon stuff are replenishables, that's mostly what I sell now, because I don't like the idea of being, accused of having, what is it? Intellectual right, property stuff, all those IPs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I started shifting, and, and that's the important thing too, guys, is like, when things are starting to not work for you, don't be scared to shift, don't be scared to pivot. And especially during this time, there's no shame in thinking, oh, well, this is what I was known for. This is what I've known to do, and I'm going to stick with it. During this very critical time, even my husband is a doctor, and he does telemedicine, and suddenly, the governor or Trump has basically said telemedicine is now open for most everybody. And he's like, whoa, what used to be so unique for me is now open to many people. So I talked to him last night about shifting and helping him, maybe creating membership sites. So we have to put our minds in motion and take away the fear. That's the one thing. I know it's scary. I know this is a scary time for all of us in some ways, but I had this long video last night I did on my Facebook Live last night, but to just take a step back and realize, what can I do during this time? Number one, even just organizing, not just your business, but your life. What can I do now that I'm forced to slow down by not doing Amazon? Maybe for some people are still going to do it because that's the lifeline of their business, and they do have the correct items and they're looking for those items. Me personally, I've kind of put a halt on some, unless I know for sure that item is not priced wrong. Because that's the other thing, guys, is people are complaining about price gouging, and we don't want to get suspended for that. Mm. So if you're sending items into Amazon right now, you need to check and double check that what you're sending in is exactly what Amazon is asking for. And that goes into the importance of details. I know I'm very guilty of it. I got sloppy sometimes in my Amazon business. I'm like, just send it in, because it was so easy. When we first got started, right? It was so easy to send things in. So now it's super important to sit down and take time to plan, and not be like I said, I can say that it's sloppy because I myself was accused of it. Not accused of it. I'm accusing myself of it. I'm guilty of it rather, because I just took it for granted that it was so easy to just send in this toy and send in that. And then soon, things aren't that way. So this is a great time to do exactly what we're talking about. And that is plan your time and time your plan. That's exactly the name of this topic. And what do I mean by that? I think that we all have 24 hours in the day, and we all have to sleep. Most of us sleep between 6 and 8 hours, hopefully. And that, and I talked about this at a seminar in Los Angeles a month ago or so, and also in January in San Antonio. And that is to look at your calendar. Look at your calendar from the time that you wake up until the time you sleep. And you can say, okay, we have to eat, and I like to exercise, or try to. I'm not perfect every day, but what are some of the things that you are wanting to do in your day? And then that part of that day is going to include your business. We all have to eat. We all have to, I look outside and I have a lot of friends with small business, and it's so sad to me, some of them have massage places, or they have a spa, and they're closed, and, they're scrambling and they're thinking, what can I do? Some people are doing grocery delivery because that is a business that is going to stay open. So they are shifting, they're pivoting, and it's okay to do that during these times. It's okay to do that even when it's not this time, as long as you're focusing on, and when I say having multiple streams, this is where the outsourcing comes into play, because, a lot of people look at me and they're like, how do you do that? How do you do, the things that you're doing? And I always say and give credit to my virtual assistants, because there is no way, that I can do this by myself. And so, a lot of people are like, well, I don't know if I can afford one, but you can get part-time virtual assistants for $100 a month. And, and if you're like, well, I know right now money is tight. I mean, even, you might want, this is a great time also to go through all of your tools, your Amazon tools and your subscriptions that maybe you bought and thought you would get to. That's what I did a few days ago. I'm like, I bought this and I've never used it, and I'm paying, $9 a month. And you might think $9 a month is not that much money, but I'm not using it, and I'm not gonna use it until, all this blows over. So there is hidden money that you can be saving and putting back in your pocket to use for your business by taking the time. You got to take the time to really, look into your business. And, it's not time to be sloppy. This is a time where we have to hunker down and we have to say, what do I need to be doing I'm thinking 3 to 6 months. I don't know. That's my guess. I had a friend in Virginia tell me their schools are closed until the end of the year. My son's school just announced 2 days ago. It was April 9th. Now it's April 24th. And then back home in Houston, they're all the way until one of the signs on the school says closed until we don't know, or somebody just said we are closed.
Until further notice.
There's no, yeah, that's the words. Yeah, we are closed until further notice. And so, what does that mean for us? For me, I don't have little kids at home, but I know some of you have kids that you have to take care of. So it's getting into your daily routine now. You have to take that and say, okay, now I have the kids home. For me, I know my meals have changed. I've got to cook a lot more during the day because I have a son that eats a lot. He's diabetic. I have to, get things ready for him and things. And so it's a great question to ask yourself, what do I need to be doing? Because whatever I'm doing, I have to make this work, right? Because we can't be sloppy. It is not the time to be sloppy.
Yeah, this is the time. If you're, I talk about time blocks all the time, and it is hard to implement time blocks when someone just walked in the room and threw a grenade in your entire calendar plan. So for those people that are A personalities and really structured, then they will pivot at home a little quicker than free spirits. So like, we just let the day go. If I get it done, I get it done, blah, blah, blah. And so everyone has to revisit their lives. Everyone in the world is revisiting their lives and saying, okay, I have to try and be intentional every single day in my business, whether it's I'm going to be intentional about 1, 2, or 3 things. And then if you're going to be intentional, try to set a time block, try to be forgiving of yourself, because sometimes what you thought you were going to get done and what you actually get to get done are 2 different things. When you have kids in who don't always understand a schedule, they're used to a school schedule, a bell going off, and it's instructing them to do the next thing, whatever that happens to be, whether in middle school or high school or elementary kids, the instruction from a teacher. So again, if you're an A personality, you have to try and implement that structure in your life so that you can get time blocks back. Your productivity is not going to be right now with COVID-19. It's not going to be what it used to be. It's not.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You're going to have to forgive yourself and cut your productivity percentages down by about, okay, so I used to list 100 items a day, if you're saying this to yourself. Or I used to research 10 new products a day or 50 new products a day. And now you have to cut that in half in order to be realistic with what you're capable of doing. Or you figure out other windows in which you can now do that thing, whether it's staying up an extra hour later after the kids go to sleep, getting up an extra hour earlier before the kids get up. You find other windows to steal that time from or to borrow that time from for however long we're all quarantined, so that you can try and get your productivity back in. Because at the end of the day, it's about keeping the lights on and taking care of your family.
Absolutely.
Really, really, really important. And I know the business sometimes is part of your survival lifeline, but you're going to have to forgive yourself and be flexible and move with the flow of the river and not try to fight it, because it's not going to be the way it was. And then for those of you that are free spirits, you're going to have to try and get a little organization in your life, just a little bit, in order to, if you were running a business and you were kind of a free spirit and you weren't as organized and structured, this is your opportunity to try and commit to yourself to do 1 or 2 things on your checklist every single day, so that you can have some level of consistency for yourself and for your kids. Because they went from consistency at school to no consistency now. And so everything is different for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's such a crucial thing that you said too, and that is to forgive yourself for your, because like yesterday, and I I literally, since my daughter had to come home from her mission because the Philippines is on complete lockdown and we're wanting all foreigners to leave, and gave them a time frame. So the church decided to bring them home. And, she's on a total backwards schedule. And so I've kind of like stayed up with her and talked with her. And then, but I thought to myself, I and many of you know that I am such a busy bee and I like to get things done. And I've, in the last few days, and since this has all been happening, I have allowed myself, if I'm tired, to lay down and rest, to take care of my health, to go walk around the neighborhood, since we're allowed to do that still. We don't know how long that will last, or we can still walk around as long as we're within 6 feet of people, which I don't really see that many people when I'm walking. But I'm saying, like, this is a time of adjustment. And as long as you are picking, like I was thinking today with my kids, I was going to say, all right, we're all going to pick a room and we're going to get it done today. And my house isn't even that messy because we've just moving, but I mean, there's just organization. And so I'm just going to say, you take this section, I'm going to take that. And if we get that done today, or even part of it done, then be happy about it. And don't beat yourself up, because as we are going through all of this, we're also, have to take care of our health. And as mothers and wives and caretakers, or whatever we are in this life, right at this moment, we have to take care of ourselves, and we can't stress ourselves out. The way that I was working before all this quarantine happened is way different than I work now. I mean, I don't force myself to, I try and actually get out more, like sit in my patio, get some sun when the sun is shining, because I'm like, I don't know if that sun's going to be there tomorrow. It's going to be raining tomorrow or whatever. And take those little moments and take more breaks, to do those things, because it is a, thankfully, I have a husband who is in a field that can still work during this time. He's a physician. And if he had to go to the ER and help people, they would take him, but not everybody has that. And so this is an amazing time. What Nicole's offering at her summit is, if you haven't, bought the pass or the all access pass, I heard, I haven't been able to listen to the panels that have been going on, but I'm sure, I mean, I have to just say this about Nicole, the quality of people that Nicole brings onto these summits, it just blows me away. And that just tells you how connected she is and how amazing she is for people to be able to come on and do this. And they give their heart and souls into what they are speaking about. And you're able to, go through this and say, that resonates with me. I'm going to take that and run with that right now, because my Amazon business right now is on hold, at least for me, or for whoever chooses to have that on hold. Amazon merch is kind of on hold, in my opinion, because they said, and so you can't really upload shirts and think you're going to get paid right away. And with Amazon, I have so many pending orders right now, and many do, and you're not going to get paid until those get shipped out. So Amazon is behind. And so in my mind, I'm like, what used to be like my main source of income for the last 7 years is suddenly I'm having to shift. And I know many of you have to. And so take what Nicole's, summit is doing and see what people are doing and say, and, and maybe you can't implement it now. Maybe you also are in a stage where you don't have to make money because your spouse is making money. I don't know what stage you're in, but Nicole has some amazing people that can open up your mind to certain ideas that anybody can do this. Anybody can take a skill of what Nicole's group is offering and say, that is amazing. And how do I do that? And they're going to teach you how to do that, and there's people that come into Amazon or KDP or Merch Amazon who've never done it ever. There's doctors and lawyers and people who have been in different fields, teachers, that are coming in and saying, I've got to learn something. I got to feed my family, and like I say, I can't remember the number that I saw. I think it's in the millions of people who are losing, daily pay, monthly pay, because their businesses have been shut down by the government right now. And so being an online entrepreneur, there's never been a better time. And so this is the time to figure out your plan. Sit down, go through the summit videos, of the days that Nicole's been in. I mean, she's pouring her heart and soul into it too, even though she's got the speakers. I know how it is to run an event. I mean, even if it's virtual, it might even be harder because, you're talking and you're like, I'm surprised she still has a voice. I've been doing a lot of virtual stuff. I'm losing my voice, not because I'm sick, because I'm like, I'm talking so much. And so, but it can be done. And so I encourage you guys to just like sit down today, and just say, okay, I'm going to block out. And that's the one important thing in this part of this presentation. And that is blocking out time. You have the time now. You can't just say, I've got to take my kids to school. No, they're at home having school. I've got to go take my kids to ballet or take them to sports. All closed down. Your obligations now are somehow, they're on hold. They're stalled as far as that goes. And so now is a time to tell yourself, I'm going to sit down today, even if it's 30 minutes is all you have, because I know some of you, like I say, have other obligations, and say, I'm going to sit down today and I'm going to write down, I'm going to brainstorm. This is what I do all the time whenever it's times like this. I'm going to brainstorm and just write down everything Nicole's Next Summit's saying. They're talking about this, and what can I do, right? And maybe out of the 20 ideas that you come up with, pick one or two, circle it, and say, now I'm going to put my heart and soul into learning that skill. That's how you learn things, guys. Because like, I didn't know how to do Amazon when I first got started. I didn't know how to do online marketing and do affiliate marketing. I had to figure out how to get an affiliate link. I had to figure out how to even get on, at that time I was doing ClickBank. I still do ClickBank. If you don't know what that is, it's like affiliate marketing. But we all are in a day and age right now during this time to learn skills. And what better time now than to do online skills?
Yes. The other thing I would say is, our summit, we're doing a conclusion at 4:00, I think. Well, there's another panel at 5, but I want to encourage you to come check it out, because we're going to summarize some of the action steps you can take. So like Joy mentioned that right now, she's doing FBA. She's been doing FBA, and there's a lot of sellers that have been doing FBA. So we're going to talk about how those FBAers that were in FBA 100% for like 5-10 years, how they can pivot at this time, what they can be doing differently in their business, not just gaining a new skill, but how do you get your inventory listed and get some sales and get some traction on them. So we're going to talk about that at 4, I think, and then at 5:00 we have the live panel. But I just want to encourage you, I still think that outsourcing is a viable solution. So why don't we talk about what they can be looking at right now? This is a great opportunity to set up your standard operating procedures for your different things, recording videos, so that you can begin the process of outsourcing work to people. That's one thing. And I'll let Joy take over some of this here, but definitely do that now. If you are in a position, like she mentioned, where you were 100% FBA, as you explore other options, also create those standard operating procedures so that when you do come back online, those things that are low-hanging fruit, you can throw them over the fence to a VA and actually scale your business up 2,000, 3,000, 4,000%, because online shopping is here to stay. This is the new norm. The online buying is the new norm. People are buying like crazy. They're not going to stop buying online after COVID-19 leaves. This will be this is a convenience, and now I can do this. People that didn't think it was possible to see a doctor online are now probably, I won't say 100% of them will keep doing it after COVID-19, but a large percentage of them will continue doing it after COVID-19. There will be people that will say, that were afraid of buying things online. There's a boatload of people that are afraid of doing things online. The stories of the grandparents asking the grandbabies now, how do you do this internet thing? Like right now, there's a bunch of people who weren't ever going to be online. I like to go in the store. I like to physically talk to the clerk. I like to have a conversation. I like to grab my stuff and leave. Those people are now going to see the convenience of buying online, and a large percentage of them will continue buying online after this is over. So the statistics that are out there is that 14.9% of the population, they expect the increase in online buying from 2018 to 2019 went to 14.9%. From 2019 to 2020, they were projecting it would go over 17%. It is now beyond 40%. So we know that 40% is skewed, and it's probably closer to 75% at this point. But a significant number of things that weren't previously available online, or people didn't think they could do online, or hadn't even considered doing online, are now online. Going to school, 100% online pretty much throughout the United States and every other country. Again, So you have to know that people that are online right now getting their first taste of it, getting introduced to it, they're going to continue to buy online after COVID-19 leaves. That means that those sellers that figured out how to weather the storm, those sellers are going to be in a prime position to be able to skyrocket their business, not just for themselves, but for their company and for maybe if they've got staff, and leave a legacy for their families after this is over. And that is the way we all should be looking at it. What does life look like 6 months from now, 9 months from now, 12 months from now, 18 months from now? What does it look like? And what could I have been putting in place right now so that I could throw these things over the fence to outsource to somebody? So I'm gonna let Joy take it away because I could keep talking because my session's at 4. But I'm gonna let Joy take the rest of this, and she's probably got some slides to talk about what you could potentially outsource and how you begin that process.
I think that first of all, a lot of people have asked me, and I'll share with you as well, like, if you're not doing Amazon FBA right now, which is, you've been doing it for 7 years, what are you focusing on right now? And so I've actually thought about, I was talking to the people who work with me, and I was basically thinking about, doing FBM, which is fulfillment by merchant. And, whether you have your own warehouse or you have room in your house, or you have, like, I have a couple of people who work with me and who do that. And so I'm thinking, hey, we might need to shift gears and, basically have you start doing this from home where we're going to ship it ourselves. And so that's one way to, still do, Amazon. But I'm kind of thinking, I'm not sure exactly like how much of my time I'll do that, but that is a possibility. The other interesting thing that I'm starting to get into is I haven't done it fully, but I did meet somebody, and that's the importance of events, by the way, at an event last month, and she does TikTok. And I was like, I keep hearing, the importance of TikTok and how it can be for business, and I never could figure it out why it was, but she has like 1.7 million followers. And, she was talking about how she was able to, I can't remember her product, but she had a product and somehow she did these little clips and stuff. And that's how she got her sales. And she would use TikTok as a method to move it from, TikTok to her LinkedIn, her Instagram, her page of her product that she was selling. It was amazing. I don't know how she does it. I did buy her course. She finally came out with one. So I'm anxious to get through that course. So that's one thing that I was going to do, but it is something that I could send to my virtual assistants and say, hey, watch this training and summarize it for me, because I don't have a lot of time. I have more time now, but I don't want to spend the time doing that. So you go through it and summarize it to me. So that's one thing. Secondly, like kind of what Nicole was saying is, recording your videos. There's loom.com. There's, Jing. There's these software, or you can use Camtasia, whatever software to record the videos so that you can get them ready to give to your virtual assistants and say, this is what I need you to do. These are some of the things that I need to do. So, this is the time, if you have time, to start doing that. So they'll be in place, because, what if your virtual assistant who's working for you now leaves? And so then you'll have them in place for the next virtual assistant. And so this is a great time. Like maybe every single day you can just say, for 30 minutes a day, I'm going to record some videos that I can give to my assistants. So my biggest focus right now is I have some Shopify stores and Gearbubble. Gearbubble, again, is Don Wilson's platform, which is like Shopify. And I'm actually thinking about moving my stuff to Gearbubble because he has an integration tool that can take all the information from Shopify and put it in his platform, on his platform. And so what's cool about it is there's no monthly fees and you don't have to buy all these apps. And so anyway, so my focus for the next 2 or 3 months is I have, I want to say 3 Shopify stores and about 4 Gearbubble stores. And I want to get those all in place making sales. And so I have a couple, I'm doing the Kibo code, which is Steve and Aiden Booth, if you don't know who they are, but basically they had an 8-week course and I'm on like week 6, I think. And so those are the things I'm focusing on. And how my virtual assistants can help? Well, searching for products, searching for things that I can put on my store, uploading it to my store, fulfilling the items, because, this is drop shipping and I don't have to store inventory, and I don't have to, I don't have to do the Amazon thing, and it's my own store. And so what I love about it is that I'm able to do with it what I want. I'm in control. And so those are some of the things that, I think are super important, as far as like, think about the things you're going to do and break down the tasks, and then outsource what you can to your virtual assistants. Some of you may not have a virtual assistant and you're wondering, how I can get one. And there's several ways. There's onlinejobs.ph, there's guru.com, there's Fiverr, Fivver. No, I'm sorry, Fiverr, I think it is. I can't remember if it's 2 V's or 2 R's. You can look it up, but you can get people to do things on there for you. And the important thing, the exciting thing about that is, as they're doing those tasks that they can be doing for, you're creating a job for somebody that you can help with them as well for their livelihood. And so that's the exciting thing as well. And so this is the important thing to do that, time to do that. I think I might skip some of these slides, but of course, you guys always know that I like to talk about my why, and that's, we're not going to spend too much time about that. But, as far as, this is a great time to think about your why, and why you're doing what you're doing. And of course, you can write down, what your why is and why am I doing what I'm doing? Well, for one thing, at this day and age, like I say, we have to do what we're doing to put food on the table. And so what is your why? I talk about that so much. This is my family. We have 13 grandkids now, so you can tell how old this presentation is. This only shows 8 grandkids. And so, there's a acronym that I use, but, here is, the plan your time your plan slide that, plan, do, check, and act. This is such an important little symbol thing, or what do you want to call that, acronym, I guess. But, we've been talking about this, about planning, sitting down, planning your day. What do you do in your day? Now take it from planning to doing, and then, check it to make sure that, what it is that you want to do, and then do it by acting, right? And, this is just a little, like I say, little, I don't know what you call this, but, it's something that I do every single day. And to me, I'm like, if I get my primo done, then like all other things that I'm doing, are just bonus, and this is just like who I am, and maybe, I don't know what your religious background is, but I think everybody in the world, can pray and can take time to read, take time to exercise, take time to meditate, and take time to organize, and a lot of people are like, how does that have anything to do with, my business? It has a lot to do with it, because, this is kind of how I think of my life, actually. These little folders in different colors, and each folder, representing an idea in my head of things that I'm going to do. And, each of these could be the things that you're learning from the summit. And then you say, I'm going to take the purple folder that has, the things that I'm going to do. So I talked about this earlier in the presentation, about I use something as simple as a composition book and my calendar. This is my calendar, and filling this with filling it with my ideas, right? And that's when you're organizing it. There's also something that you can use called the Awesome Note app. I talk about this so much. It's this app on iPhone. I think it's that way on Android. But what's kind of cool is, as you can see here, there's several different folders that you can use. And, they don't have to be these, but they can be something for each of your businesses. Like you can maybe use, one's for my Shopify, one's for Gear Bubble. And each of those open up, and then you'll have what you were talking about. So, as you can see, this is like, taking it from what a thought has become and placing it into action, which makes it super important and super doable. Every single night before I go to sleep, I write down some things of what I want to accomplish the next day. And I come up with 3. and I write down, what are three things only, and yours can be one, yours can be 5, it can be 10, whatever it is for you. What are the 3 things I'm going to accomplish today? Write them down, write down all your tasks for your business. It's super important to write it down, break down those tasks into certain sections, like each of these things. And, we're breaking down so that we can see it more clearly. And then I call this, and I'm sure a lot of people talk about this, but it's called chunking. And, we start at the top with your idea, break them down into small chunks, break down even more into smaller chunks, and it will lead up to your actual idea. And if you do it this way, it's so awesome because, you're able to not feel so overwhelmed, right? You take this and then you say, man, I just have this idea and I'm going to just, and everything we just did in the slides have led up to this, thinking of your idea and all that kind of stuff. So what I do is I set a timer. There's apps on your phone, there's apps on your computer, whatever it is, set a timer for however long, turn off all your distractions. We all love Facebook. We all like to hear what's going on Twitter. Maybe we have, I have a sign on my office door right now that says, I'm recording right now. If you need me, I'll be done at in an hour from now. So, put off your distractions, turn, if you didn't know this on your phone, you do go into the general settings and they have a do not disturb button on your phone. And so, it's super important to just like focus, put yourself in, sit down and let the things that you are putting into your brain and, taking the ideas from what you want to do. We've chunked it down, we're doing it. We're turning off all our distractions. It's almost like impossible for you to not get something done if you do these things. And so, and as we're talking about outsourcing, only do what you can do. And so what I mean by that is there's certain things that I do. And like, with private label, I'm the one that talks to the suppliers because my virtual assistants can't speak very good English. So I'm, doing what only I can do. So as you're writing down those tasks, just know that, there are certain things that you only can do. And of course, outsource. You're talking about outsourcing. What is your weekly planning? What does your day look like? We all have 24 hours in a day to do certain things. But the thing that we don't want to do, of course, is to be super busy. We don't want to, I talked about this last night actually on a Facebook Live. We don't want to calendar our life. We also want to uncalendar it. We don't want our calendar to look like this. The reason why we plan, we take time to plan and plan our time is we don't want it to look like this. That's not what we want. That's not what I want anyway. I don't want to be busy. I want to outsource and take the time to be able to, we're doing all this to going back to our why and know that we're doing this so that we can spend time with our family. Even during this time of quarantine, take the time to look at your kids, to look at whoever you're talking about, have a relationship with them, And so, if you plan to fail, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. I love this quote because I know I'm guilty of it and many of us are. And that is we just go around like a chicken with our head cut off and we're just like going and going and we're doing all these things. And we're thinking that because we're busy, that we're being, productive. And, just like when my son said today, he goes to school for like 8 hours a day, but we're getting things done in 2 or 3 hours time. And, you can compress it. So like whatever it is with your business, you can basically do the same. And so, I always love this quote by Tony Robbins where he talks about success is doing what you want, when you want, where you want, with whom you want, as much as you want. This has always been like, like Nicole says, like I'm always seeing I love being on the beaches of the world. Can't travel right now, but what is it that you want, and like, what is it and how is it that what is the definition of success for you, and whatever that is, come up with that plan and, get ready to outsource it so you can get the things done that you need to. And also super important to remember, and that is, never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life, like, have you ever heard of that song? It's by Billy Ray Cyrus and it's called Busy Man. And, I think of that song and I like to listen to it because he talks about, how he's just such a busy man and he just, hasn't taken the time to sit and, push his kids in the swing, and he don't want to. I'm just saying, like, this is such a passionate thing for me. And the fact that, like, yes, it's fun to work. Yes, it's awesome to make money. Yes, we need to make money, but we don't want to, like, calendar our life so much, that we're busy, that we need to start remembering what our why is. These are my 8 beautiful children, older picture. They're so much older now, but I look at this and it reminds me of when they're little and younger. And I think, this is why I do what I do. And, it's super important to remember why we do. And that this is all going back to the main topic. And that is, planning our time. And there's no better time in the world right now than to do that. Like, we have the time now. We have no more excuses. This is the time to sit down, because pretty soon, when all this is over and we go back to normal, whenever that's going to be, 3, 6 months, 9 months, I don't know, then we'll be ready. We'll be ready. We're going to have our house clean and we're going to have our SOPs in place, and we're going to have our thoughts and our business ideas, like, written down, And so anyway, this is just something that, we need to just remember and go back to this, and, like, planning, doing, checking what we're doing and putting it into action. We can talk about this all day long, but until we actually put into action, it's just there. It's just the thought. So we need to put our thoughts into action. So I didn't know if you had any comments, Nicole, but those are my slides and those are my thoughts. But I just think it's, this is such an important topic. And that's why, like, when I was thinking, what can I do to share with you, and this is like basic 101, yet it's something that we overlook. Why? Because we're so busy, and we're not as busy right now because we're home. And so this is the time to do those kind of things. So.
Absolutely. I totally agree. As we said before, so definitely, take that opportunity to reevaluate your business. I know for some people right now, the anxiety is paralyzing, and try to get off of social media and stop watching TV.
Right.
And focus on your business, and maybe just starting with a blank sheet of paper and doing a brain dump, and maybe create 2 columns of things that you feel like you can do, you need to do, and maybe create 3, probably 3. A column of just your business in general, of everything that you're doing in your business, however you're operating right now. And then as you think about outsourcing, put the list of items that you can do on the next column, and the things that potentially you could create operating procedures for a VA on the other side. So you have your 3 columns. And then last but not least, definitely look into what are the things that I could, reinvest time into. Studying, as we've said before, looking at improving you and different things, learning a new skill, pivoting into a new area of e-commerce. Maybe you were doing it before, you go back to doing it, or maybe you thought about exploring it and you just never had the time to take on the training. So this is an opportunity, and put a time frame around that, because you don't want to spend all of the time that we're all stuck at home just doing learning. You want to mix in to keep your business flowing and going, mix in some work. But yeah, invest some time. Maybe, okay, Tuesday's the study day, Tuesday training. That's your Tuesday training.
Right.
That's what you do all day. I'm going to focus on learning a new skill and training on Tuesday to learn a new skill. And that way, you mix it in and you gain new skills. Because again, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 18 months from now, the world will look very different. Thousands upon millions of people will be online buying that weren't before. And you definitely want to be the one to have, streamlined your business operations, made it run smoother, more efficiently, and that's what you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is the time, guys. And, I think there's no better time than now while you have the time, because I do feel it's interesting because, yeah, there's anxiety, but there's also, if you let yourself have, that to try and meditate, bring that anxiety down, and then just say, okay, this is also a blessed time to be able to have the time to do exactly what we're talking about. Get your business in order, learn that new skill and go through the summit recordings. This is, even whenever I'm doing work around the house, what I do is I just put on my headphones, put on my watch, or put on my phone and carry it around and listen while I'm working. You don't have to be sitting in front of the computer. You can be folding your clothes or, going for a walk or whatever, and listen. That's my multitasking going on. I'm trying not to multitask, but I don't think that that's a bad multitask because, I'm listening. It's like, instead of listening to the radio, I'm listening to Nicole talk about, these awesome things at her summit and things. So, utilize your time wisely. It's super important. So.
All right. Well, I am so glad that you were part of the summit. I'm glad that you were able to share your thoughts. Definitely, guys, take the opportunity to think about what a VA could be doing for you. Try not to stay in your headspace right now. Just think about the future. And if you want to scale your business, this is your opportunity to really be thinking about, what can a VA do to help me streamline or scale up my business so that you can go from whatever you're making right now. And on the other side of this, there will be millionaires made. On the
Absolutely.
other, get to where you want to be. That's the goal. Take this time to do that.
I agree.
Thank you, Joy. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Always. You're fabulous. And I hope you all have an awesome day.
Yes. Take care, everybody. Be safe.
Okay.